I see. So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but...
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of... Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. I guess you wouldn't know about it. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of...
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious night burglars.
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our weasel targeted whatever people held dear, and no one was safe from his predations. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know! The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders.
Yeesh.
Not exactly. There's a good chance that the weasel would still be at large to this day. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched heist. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And that was how the Phantom Weasel's identity... Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's this one.
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what he wrote. 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the...
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. After years of laying low, the Phantom Weasel is back with a vengeance. What once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged now?
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be turned? Really? Oh, let him try. In fact, Paimon's gonna eat all his...
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's... Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It does feel like something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lyney!
Magic, magician, Caesar! The Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lyney! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common?
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is that?
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning. Let's go!
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy, which means we can read other...
Really? Then, what am I thinking now?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're...
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. You snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie.
You can tell? Oh.
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home.
All right. Got it.
Hey, Lyney?
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for me? What's the situation?
Well, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power...
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on his... That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. You guys, on the other hand...
Wow. Got it in one.
Wait, really? No trickery this time. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around...
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's reappearance?
Angry? What?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there.
Huh. Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone... But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician...
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious...
You're being far too modest, Lyney. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable.
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, a lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's gone!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes...
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't moved this whole time!
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous praise was
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to... Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in... For example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounters. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious...
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about it. It sounds like something I should look into, though. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine's Floral Language Facts when I have some time. But it'll have to wait until this Phantom Weasel business is behind us.
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, am looking forward to the final showdown between you. Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will, of course, see you at your show in 3 days' time. If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write.
So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us how you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid that's my little secret.
Aww. Well, magicians are entitled to their secrets. You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary magician's assistants and help me investigate?
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank you for putting your trust in moi. The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, that means that the Weasel is dead, and whoever wrote this... But if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that the Weasel lives, and he's been laying low all this time in some corner of Fontaine. And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so we should make a move. Let's go and rendezvous with Lynette.
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
It's been a while, Lynette. We're working as Lyney's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom Weasel.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen...
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown up.
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, Paimon, let's go ask around. Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a Gemma?
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée? Sure I do.
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something. I heard
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. It's no secret why, either. She's heartsick. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. Often, I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits. I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a... Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be sitting in front of his grave by now. Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more luck asking some other people.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us. We'll keep asking around.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. I can never tell what's true and... But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What if this weasel's the real deal and Caesar was framed?
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up.
Oh, please. weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all, that gosh darn lousy son of a, you think you know a guy, or words.
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice you were discussing the Phantom Weasel. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think you could spare a moment to tell us a little bit about Caesar?
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when Caesar used to perform magic tricks on the street. He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon. I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me...
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show. Sometimes he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd make the items on the wish list.
Huh. He doesn't sound like such a bad guy.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about...
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot topic once more. I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared... No, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she...
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon or does... Wait, it looks like she's injured.
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured.
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer.
My name is Lyney, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing... I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can to keep...
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so...
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with...
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely some...
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow. Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at a cafe right now. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former... When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered...
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they...
Oh, forget the pleasantries. Just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but...
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than...
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address is... Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel, and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing.
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do...
Possibility? It's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully while I'm still... The weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this...
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me...
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know for myself what...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never...
Uh-oh. This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that bit.
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey! Edmondo. He and I are business pals. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being, what, pushing 40? 30?
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion.
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your luck? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was...
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He... You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked my...
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey! Keep your voice down. Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to... And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You some flare-up back... That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get...
think we're being watched. Someone was listening in. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will... You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent...
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going. Capi?
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this! Go, Barrett! Let the show begin.
You're in for a little shock.
Now disappear!
Come on, we can do it! Windblade!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already done it! You're right! She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she... Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had threatened her.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can relax now. We're here to protect...
What? Why? I didn't...
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost...
Okay. How can I help you?
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to
Got it. But if I'm staying here,
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off.
Looks like no more free coffee for me.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these There we go. It should be just down here.
This was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Surrender and I'll be gentle. Come a little closer. My.
Now disappear!
Out of the frying pan! Ha! Whoa. Look, the doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place as... If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room? Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully...
A secret passageway! How did you...
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around. Step right up.
I'll protect us. Hi.
Come a little closer.
Wingblade!
Now disappear! A round of applause!
Let the show begin. Go! Prepare to be blown away! Ha!
Step right up.
Wingblade! Why have you stopped, Lyney? Is there...
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right, see you in a bit! Wow! There's a hidden room here! This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home safely. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It's like they... It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately, but he won't open up to me about it. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. Oh, I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and it seems like they're not new to the world of magic. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more professional standard training plan. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids if they'd like to come with me, but they shook their heads. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but I think that I've gotten a feel for their personalities now. They're very tough, but also very cautious, and they trust no one but each other. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why they wanted to learn magic, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous, too. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the... P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Lyney and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Let's... Lyney?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy? Uh-oh, what have you...
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how a high-altitude escape is performed. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air and At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they... Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and put on a Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really picture...
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished, as if everything that just happened was some sort of shared illusion. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is...
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to...
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is there's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's no Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long. But Caesar was a highly accomplished magician. But
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy stuff here. Have you figured out what really...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And sure enough...
Okay, nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on them, but a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the false... And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires, but in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make a swift escape. But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it would... So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what... Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two, until the bottom of the box gave way. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did... But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without... Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for...
You mean Gemma? So you...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you, people, which is why you can't leave this place alive. Take the...
Do your worst!
And voila!
I'll protect us.
Step right up!
You're toast!
Try not to enjoy this too much.
Let's get this show on the road!
Let the show begin.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking, and what I'd really like to know is...
If I had a mora for every time you've said that man's name. Of course you idolize Caesar. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic.
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in I had to kill him. There was no other way.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all...
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations.
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all over again.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. You've seen what's here. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me.
Very well. In that case, I'll contact the guards. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me.
Lyney has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him for the Phantom Weasel's crimes?
Look who's finally developed a conscience. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away! It'll get...
You're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation. You're not gonna have any room.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well...
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. But you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. My emotion... I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people watching me all the... I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. And then no one would be left to... Thank you all. Truly.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. From the outside, to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while at least his soul can finally rest in peace now.
If only I'd realized. But
don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor. Thank you.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be...
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic... Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something.
Not this time. My brother's going solo today. So, I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready because the show is about to begin. The great magician Lyney has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight.
Wow! A new trick!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the mystical and miraculous.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. Caesar was a famous magician, so how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on this. Children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had this amazing way of bringing them into it, and somehow I felt drawn to him too. So I went up and...
Aw, that sounds so romantic. What trick?
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snapped his fingers, and... I was so happy that day.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually...
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart. Just after all, you never know when the people dearest to you might...
That's right. It's all over now. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but at the very
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now. Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the performance so far. There will now be a brief intermission, after which Lyney will perform the most electrifying act of tonight's show. The one we've all been... The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way outside in a calm and orderly fashion.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places. Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any tricks to liven up the mood. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but thankfully, I do have a backup plan.
Lyney, don't we have more important things to address? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago.
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you want to...
Really? Well then, let's hear it! Paimon's dying of curiosity here!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day she ran the... Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long she found her ticket to freedom. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough
So there...
Being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional story, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the Weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was...
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are... With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed... Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? Gemma and Lorenzo? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even at the end instead of admitting to being the weasel?
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in your having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But
an excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic to something more interesting.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on that?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here. If I had to guess, I would say that left to fend for herself after her parents died young. But she'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. I detest the happiness of others. In all its forms, I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true. And it will fill the...
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all makes sense.
Does this story satisfy you, Lyney?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove you to write that letter, Gemma? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history, Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House.
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that...
10 years ago? You mean... wait... Oh, I get it. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds and his legacy was thrown out. But we did not forget. And so we came to find you.
And? What exactly did you take from me?
Free? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehood, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime. Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the... But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies and falsehoods. I do.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Lyney to perform. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well,
a high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real weasel has now confessed to their crimes.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing this one for 8... Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight.
Lyney, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what if you don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone?
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lyney said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch.
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lyney after the show, you know where he'll be.
All right. Well, let's go and watch Lyney's finale then. This trick's a pretty dangerous one, but...
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lyney is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Lyney! Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished. Right?
What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale. It will make a
Whew. Looks like everyone really loved Lyney's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where Caesar's buried? Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Lyney's way of saying goodbye. Alright, let's go look for him there. Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly feeling weightless, seeing... Sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought and did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop.
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make... We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves. But without proper guidance from a professional magician, we quickly...
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that he was so willing to teach us. In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, what amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly, I'd forgotten how to trust by then.
Lyney...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now declared to be the Phantom Weasel. That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma.
Yeah, cheer up, Lyney. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on things like this and, you know, Traveler, doesn't that kinda make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the... Life has taken plenty from us like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the... That's why the darkness never consumed me and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember every precious ray of light that shines. All right, time to lighten this conversation up a little.
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent most of our time in the opera. Lyney, could you...
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lyney Paimon knows can do.
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go, but only because... Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand. We ain't
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here.
3, 2, 1.
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers are...
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a dip, but more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is.
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as...
Fine.
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of...
Is that it?
Ah, look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, fine. See ya. Shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon bets Lyney and Caesar will be... Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today.
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going to go to print this morning. But just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the
That was quick.
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? It sounds... Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in...
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer...
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it.
Well...
Oh, I remember now! You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the show. Quickfire question, where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon, guess what? Lyney's...
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself.
No, I just...
What now? This is getting pretty awkward.
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news about Gemma has already made wave. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest of your conversation in peace.
Lynette? Paimon...
Don't worry, I wasn't angry. I was just trying to distract her.
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness. You scared Paimon there.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.